back-to-back season opener after the Super Bowl. So then what happens? Von Miller gets a strip sack fumble on Cam Newton to end the game, season opener of 2016. I really think that
Well, Dave just kind of accidentally must have got excited talking about Cam Newton, and he hung himself up. So we're going to go ahead and call Dave back because Dave's a butthead. We're calling Dave back. We'll be right back, folks.
This show just climbing this rope right here. And if there's a man upstairs, he kept bringing me rain. But I've been sending up prayers and something's changed.
anyways,
We're back, folks.
I think
So here we go.
I-
Dave is back.
I think Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware broke Cam Newton mentally because of the fact he has never lost anything that big in his life and has never been able to kind of recuperate mentally from it. Because in high school, he won a state championship, never lost a state championship. College football, won a national championship, never lost anything big in college. So his mind has never been able to handle losing. He's always been a successful guy. And this is the point in his career where he's going to need to learn to handle these situations. Oh, is my shoulder going to be better? Or am I going to be able to perform on what I was meant to be? Like, I feel like he still has a mental challenge from 2015 stuck in his head, and it won't go away. He has a wall after that game that he doesn't know how to handle because he's never lost anything that big.
I mean, that was a great storyline, and it, hell, you should make that into an article. We can, put it on something and get some clicks.
All I make is picture books. I don't know how to read.
But here's the issue. That doesn't account for the fact that even before that and during that run and even after that, his mechanics have been terrible. He's been erratic at best when it comes to accuracy. And his best attribute was being able to bomb the ball down the field to wide receivers running basically wide open. That as a quarterback, but his best attribute was being a 6'5", 255-pound linebacker that played quarterback and ran the ball and nobody could tackle. His body is failing him, and now he's having to depend on quarterback skills that he's never had and never developed and never learned. And now his body's taking abuse and his throwing shoulder, so now he doesn't have the rocket arm. I'm telling you, this is what I predicted for Cam Newton back when everybody was pissed at me in 2015, Dave. When I was saying you can crown him the MVP, but he will not be around in 6 years. He just won't. His body will be done. He'll never develop as a quarterback, and people will give up on him and it's the beginning and the end. If he doesn't perform well this year, do you think they're with his contract and everything, the money they paid, you think they're going to stick around and stick it out? Hell no. They got 2 or 3 quarterbacks coming up every year that are cheap as hell. This league they throw guys like this to the side. It's sad, Dave, but it's what it is. And the mental thing is true because he was just up on the thing like, I don't even care if I control the ball. I just want to win.
But Jay,
and
that's the thing, though.
He looks
I never
like
said
a
he was
reggae star.
I never said he was what looks had nothing to do with his play. Either way.
I guess that to me, that's a representation of his mental state. He's always been this, clean-cut, suave dude, and right now he looks like a guy that's, going home and just beat.
That proves my point. He's mentally broken. I'm telling you, since 15, he's broken. And that's the thing is, I'm not saying he was this pocket-passing QB in 15, but he literally carried the Panthers' offense to that Super Bowl, and he met a defense that was his match. And I'm not saying he was this, Aaron Rodgers or Drew Brees or Peyton Manning in the Super Bowls or Brady, dude. All I'm saying is he is mentally broken. That's it. He's just never been able to recover from that big loss. It hasn't been the same Cam Newton. Even with the shoulder injuries, I don't even blame the injuries. It's him never recovering from a big loss.
I said I liked all your stuff, but I was just trying to get out the other stuff.
Well, I know, but it made it sound like you were thinking I was like wanting him to be a passing quarterback in the pocket. And I'm like, no, we know he's a runner. We know he's going to have bad accuracy. I know that. I'm just saying in the fact that he carried Carolina at 15.
Damn you, I've told you this many times. We might have a conversation and I'm talking to you, but I'm not talking at you.
Everyone's laughing at me.
I'm talking at the people out there. But you just happen to be the other end of the conversation here. That's just the way this works sometimes.
There's no middleman.
You always act like I'm scolding you. It's just kind of funny.
No. I was just correcting my argument is all.
I'm not scolding you at all. I'm telling the people out there.
I was correcting my argument.
I'm talking to the people out there through you, Dave. You're like a conduit to my craziness.
I'm a big dancing bear that gets whipped from the back.
Oh, shut up. I'm so sick of that.
Fun fact, Christian McCaffrey had 209 yards from scrimmage 5 days ago. Tonight, he has 36 against the Bucs defense, which was 32nd last year.
Look, this whole game has been kind of mundane.
Yeah, I mean, it's starting to pick up. Jameis just connected with Godwin for a touchdown, went to halftime. I mean, it's picking up a little bit. It's not like going ooh and ah, but I mean, it's picking up a little bit, just a little bit. I will go ahead and mention there was a injury that kind of caught Packers' eyes, and I know it caught Jay's and mine. Bakhtiari was limited yesterday, and he did not practice. And now everyone's kind of assuming, oh, is he going to play? Is he going to play? Jay, what I think Bakhtiari is, I think he's taking a rest day. Because with back injuries, worst thing you do is go back and even doing limited work. You're still putting the strain on it. You just need to rest it.
I think you're going to see a lot of this with Bakhtiari and Balaga this year where they say,
especially LaFleur.
He's got a strained back and this, because those two guys, I think, at this point in their career, the worst thing you can do is give – they really don't need practice reps. Do you really think that David Bakhtiari and Balaga really need to go out there?
They look great against Chicago holding back.
I'm just saying they're not actually pass blocking in practice. So all you're doing is putting strain on these knees and things to get twisted and hurt. Look, honestly, at this point, they don't need to practice. They can go through the walkthroughs and that, and so all that kind of shit. But I don't think you're going to see these guys. I think it's going to happen a lot to keep them healthy, because those two guys, when they're working in tandem together, man, that really...
It's beautiful.
They do a damn good job. No offensive lineman is perfect. And since that...
they're damn close together.
They do a damn good job. The still shot of the way... that I had out earlier from the film of how quick they are off the ball, because they look at it in unison with the snap and their get off. Wow, that's beautiful. I mean, if you like offensive line play, that's a beautiful thing right there. So I think this is a quote unquote, he's got a strained back, so he's not practicing, because
it's a Bulaga rest day for Bakhtiari, basically, because Bulaga's had plenty of rest days so far.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I think this is going to happen quite a bit, honestly, going forward this season, and I don't have an issue with it, and I think people need just RELAX.
Yeah, LaFleur's going to take the very careful way of doing things. He's not going to push people if they feel they strained something's tight. He sat Kevin King for how much of the preseason, and we all gave him crap for it, and he looked great week one.
Which is the complete opposite of the last regime. So I'm all for it. If we can get guys to perform on the field and stay healthy during the week. Because, okay, here's the other thing, too, that I guess we have to consider here. And it's just a theory, but it goes back to what we've been saying about this offense. I don't think necessarily the old school practice is as prevalent in this offense. I think you can get a lot done and perform in game day, because the run game is going to take a long time to develop, because it's going to take actual game action for these guys, because they just don't hit in practice. There's just not enough physical contact anymore for practice to be a viable way to develop a run game. That's why if teams aren't already really good at it, like, it's going to take a long time, okay? That's really just my opinion on it. And so all the rest of this stuff you can get done because there's so much double action and motions and similarities, same-looking formations, different plays. I think a lot of this you just don't need guys to be out there pushing it all the time. You can get a lot of that stuff down through walkthroughs without being hard on their body. And I'm okay with it as long as they perform. And I know they haven't performed yet, but they're in their preseason. I don't think they're really going to start hitting their stride on offense till around week 5. And I kind of predicted this. I thought I was going to have a higher score, but I think the defense is going to be what keeps them in these games and wins them a lot of these first 4 weeks.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, the defense is definitely going to be leaned on heavily. But I think as we get closer to week 5, you're going to keep seeing glimpses and glimpses of what the offense can do when it fully turns it on. And also, too, another big injury update. Minnesota, their 3rd through their 5th cornerback is limited or did not practice. So they only have Rhodes and Trey Waynes. Now, after that, you would bring up the next man up from your 6th to your 8th cornerback, bringing them in, and you're putting them up against guys like MVS or Allison or Kumaro or Lazard, who all these undercard guys, Trevor Davis, all of them have these connections with Rodgers, and I feel like a lot of these younger guys, even the tight end group, will have a big game if these corners from Minnesota don't get healthy.
Well, here's the thing. That's the group I was talking about with JB last night that most scared me. The Bears front 7 terrifies me because you just don't get enough time with them to get a lot of downfield plays. And that's why play action becomes so important when you're playing the Bears. However, like I said to JB, this defensive interior line is good, it's solid, but it's nothing like the Bears. And their edge rushers...
Oh, no, not like Hicks or Goldman.
They're good, they're solid. Their edge rushers are good, they're solid, but they're not like the edge guys coming off the edge there. But here's the flip side. Harrison Smith and all those secondary guys, Trey Waynes...
It used to be Andrew Zadejo. They let him go last year, so they're kind of missing that extra safety.
Their secondary, though, is a hell of a lot better across the board compared to the Bears. So it's almost the opposite. And so if their secondary is missing some guys and there's some holes in it, I believe that they will definitely be able to throw the ball because there's times when, yes, they still get pressure because I'm not saying they don't have a good front. But there's a lot of times in this, if their secondary is beat up like that, Rodgers will have plenty of opportunities with a clean pocket against this front 7 to make throws. And if they're short on their secondary, that could really counterbalance or tilt the balance of power, so to speak, to Rodgers in this offense. Because I really think, I really think the strength of this defense really is in the secondary and the depth of it. And you start picking those guys away.
That 3rd to the 5th.
Yep.
If they're done, yeah. Well, also, I think the big one that would have a day with it, in my opinion, if you give him the reps, Kumaro. The guy comes in, he's game ready most of the time.
What the active 48 is going to be for this game, quite honestly.
I am too.
Because
you know what? I think Kiki is going to play. I think he's going to be active because of Dalvin Cook running the ball, and Kiki's one of the faster guys off the line.
And he's got lateral mobility to chase on those stretch plays. So I'm just interested to see what the active 48 is because they're at home, and so I think a lot of the active 48 and the inactive decision making last week was based off of veteran presence because they were on the road, a division opponent, hostile environment, big game, standalone, Thursday night opener. lots of pressure. So I think now that pressure